One day California police arrested a man who looked like an ordinary guy. But in his house there was a bunker filled with machine guns, other automatic weapons, and also bombs. Although there was blood spattered on the walls, there was no trace of a body. Did he only gather weapons, or did he also kill someone? I'm making this video, so that means he killed someone. If not, I wouldn't have released it. Before starting the video, the usual thing, many of you still haven't subscribed and my motivation is falling. Come on, just press the subscribe button and write one comment and hit like, and I'll start the video with the usual line. So switch on the Conant mode in your brain, because in the universe nobody will interrupt you while watching this video. 27-year-old Lonnie Bond, his 19-year-old wife Brenda O'Connor, and their little 18-month-old son Lonnie Calaveras lived in one of the small towns in California. That town was so small it practically doesn't even show up on maps. Because there are so few people here, each property is very large and everyone has their own land. People can easily hide whatever they want on their land. Lonnie Bond and his family had moved here 6 months earlier. For them this place was perfect. People didn't even fence their properties here. Where the houses ended, the wild woods began. Because Lonnie liked the wilderness, this place was ideal for him. And their family life was only just beginning. He had planned to spend some time with his family out here in nature, in solitude. Only one thing bothered Lonnie a little, his neighbor. Lonnie had noticed that the neighbor treated Brenda well, looked at her differently, and he didn't like it at all. One day Brenda saw something. It was terrifying, but she wasn't sure if what she saw was really what she thought. She simply couldn't trust her eyes. Maybe that's why Lonnie didn't take her seriously. Brenda told Lonnie that she had seen the neighbor standing by a large pot, holding something that looked like a corpse, and then throwing it into the fire, but since it was evening she couldn't see it clearly. Instead of calling the police immediately, they treated it as a closed matter, and that day they invited their friend Robin Stepley over to sit together. From April 1985 onward, for some reason Lonnie Bond and Brenda O'Connor didn't think about paying their rent. The landlord, Bo Carter, sent a real estate agent to check on their situation. The agent knocked on the door, nobody answered. Then a bearded man came out, introduced himself as Charles Gunner, and said, "I'm their neighbor. They left the house to me to look after. I don't know where they went or when they'll return." Even though Lonnie's car was parked by the house, the agent accepted this story. Seeing the family's personal belongings inside, he thought they would return soon. Interestingly, their friend Robin Stepley was also missing that day. A few months passed. None of the young family's relatives worried about their disappearance. Lonnie and Brenda had always lived a solitary life and moved around a lot. Maybe that's why nobody searched for them. The disappearances of Lonnie and Brenda and of Robin Stepley did not prompt any action from the local police. On June 2, 1985, San Francisco police received a call about a shoplifter. A shop clerk saw a man walk past the register stealing $75 worth of staples. After the man left the store, he put the stolen items into the trunk of a brown Honda. The clerk followed him. Officer Daniel Wright arrived quickly at the scene and stopped beside the Honda. The clerk and a bearded man also went to the police, and the clerk said the staples were in the trunk. Officer Wright checked the trunk and, in addition to the staples, found a gun inside a bag, a .22 caliber revolver loaded with live rounds. At that moment the bearded man came up to the officer and said, "I paid for those staples," and tried to show a receipt. But the officer ignored him and said that carrying that gun was illegal, then looked at the car's registration. "Whose car is this?" he asked. The man said, "My neighbor Lonnie Bond's." The officer asked the man to show identification. The man showed Robin Stepley's papers to the police. Although his beard was long, the police quickly realized this man was not Robin. He didn't say anything about that. Then he said, "You know, carrying this gun is dangerous." He seemed agitated and said, "I told you this is not my gun, I just took it from my neighbor to shoot at the banks." The police officer decided to check the gun's serial number. After checking it, he said, "You're under arrest." "Why?" "Because that gun belonged to Robin Stepley." "If you're Stepley, then the gun is yours." Officer Wright put him in the car, then seated his partner as well, and they took both men to the interrogation room, ordering them to empty their pockets. Among the man's belongings they found a travel receipt made out to Charles Gunner. At that moment, another officer informed Wright that the Honda's identification number had finally been traced. It was registered to a man named Paul Cosner, who had been reported missing about 7 months earlier. The police had been searching for that exact car for a long time. So many different names were circling around one man. Officer Wright decided to find out who the man in front of him really was. At that moment, the detained man asked for a pen or pencil, a sheet of paper, and a glass of water. "I need to write a letter to my wife," he said. Then he took something and put it into his mouth. Asking to have his hands freed from the cuffs, he quickly started to write a short note. A few seconds later, his head started spinning, he fell to the floor, and went into convulsions. Within seconds he lay motionless in the middle of the room. There was no pulse. He was rushed to the hospital. Later police discovered that he had sewn cyanide capsules into the collar of his shirt. He was now in a coma. The letter he had written before collapsing read as follows. "My dear Lynn, I love you. Of course, freedom is above all. I'm sorry to my mother, to Patty, and to everyone else. Forgive me for all the misfortunes I brought. With love, Leonard Lake." Now investigators decided to examine the car more thoroughly. There were traces of blood on the front seats. Something horrifying had clearly happened inside that car. 39-year-old Paul Cosner, the Honda's owner, was a used car dealer. On November 2, 1984, he had told his girlfriend he was going to meet a strange-looking man to show him a car. He was never seen again. Inside the car, several credit cards and documents belonging to Robin Stepley were also found. Investigation showed that Robin Stepley had been one of the founders of the Guardian Angels organization in San Diego, a group created to protect ordinary citizens from criminals and assist the police. Paul Cosner was missing. Robin Stepley was also missing. Leonard always carried poison capsules with him. All of this made him an extremely mysterious man. The police launched a large-scale investigation. Interestingly, while they were on their way to Leonard's house, his wife Clara Lynn also joined them. When asked why she was late, she said she had just come from that very house. This immediately raised suspicion among the officers, who told her, "If you're hiding anything, you'll also be charged as an accomplice." The woman replied, "No, I was just looking for a video, one that had naked girls in it." Hearing that, the investigators became certain that real surprises awaited them. So, they all set out together. When they arrived, a gray wooden house came into view. It looked completely abandoned. Weather-worn walls, a roof damaged by rain and wind, and fogged windows, everything about it showed there were no comforts inside. The house gave off a dreadful feeling, as if pushing people away. The detectives split up. Eisenman and another officer began inspecting the surroundings of the house, while Detective Bran and another policeman started searching inside. The house had 2 bedrooms, a living room, a kitchen, and bathrooms. As soon as they entered, Bran noticed reddish stains splattered on the living room ceiling. On one wall there was a mural of a forest scene, right in its center was a bullet hole. In the kitchen, Bran saw another bullet mark on the floor. In the bedroom stood a bed. Above its headboard were electrical wires, straps, and bolts fixed into the wall. Above that was a projector mounted on the ceiling. All of it suggested that people had been tied up here and that certain kinds of videos had been filmed. Inside a box next to the bed were women's underwear of various sizes, all stained with dark reddish marks. Bran lifted the corner of the mattress to check underneath. There was another mattress below it, also stiff with what looked like dried blood. At first glance, the house seemed to be hiding a major crime, but the investigators couldn't yet imagine what kind of crime it truly was. Detective Eisenman, who was searching outside, came back in and told Bran, "There's a concrete bunker outside." However, their search warrant didn't cover the bunker. Bran turned to Clara Lynn and asked, "Are you willing to open it and show us what's inside?" Earlier, Clara Lynn had told the police that she had never lived in that house with Leonard and didn't really know much about it. But when the conversation turned to the bunker, she suddenly became very nervous, saying she didn't have the keys and that she wouldn't say anything else without her lawyer. Then she left. After such behavior, not only experienced investigators but any ordinary person would become suspicious. The detectives immediately realized that something big was being hidden there. They left the scene, to return with an additional search warrant. This time, the police didn't come alone. Along with the warrant, they brought 20 backup officers as well. June 4, 1985, the place that had once looked abandoned suddenly filled with people, vehicles, and search dogs. It was a large-scale operation, and everyone there was about to uncover horrifying secrets. That same day, Leonard's mother came to the police and said that many years earlier her other son, Donald, had also gone missing. She also told them that Leonard's brain activity had stopped, and doctors were asking for permission to disconnect him from life support. On June 4, the bunker was finally opened. Sheriff Ballard and Detectives Bran and Eisenman were the first to go inside. They entered a dark room, a 6 by 3.5 meter workshop. Along one wall hung rows of tools and power saws. Looking closer, the investigators saw that many of the tools were covered with reddish-brown stains, most likely blood. The most shocking detail: the wall where the tools hung wasn't just a wall, it was actually a door leading to another room. Inside that second room was a double bed, a nightstand, books, and a desk lamp. There were also military uniforms, boots, and an enormous number of weapons, automatic rifles, shotguns, and machine guns. There was even an operating table. On another wall were 21 photos of young women, all nude. At first, detectives feared these might be the victims, but later it was confirmed that all the women in the pictures were alive and unharmed. In the bookshelf, among explosives and chemical substances, investigators discovered a small window, which led to yet another tiny room. There they found a diary. In it, Leonard had written about the true purpose of the bunker. He believed that the world would soon face a nuclear war. By building the bunker, he wanted not only to survive, but also to fulfill his sexual fantasies. He had planned to build similar bunkers all over the country, fill them with weapons, food supplies, and female slaves. He imagined himself as the owner of an obedient collection of women, with whose help he would recreate humanity. When the police searched around the house and bunker, they found many human bones. Near the bunker, they noticed freshly disturbed soil. When they dug it up, they found shoes, belts, and other personal items buried there. These discoveries prompted a massive investigation. The FBI and heavy excavation equipment were brought in. During the digging, they found the first complete skeletons, 2 people, but their remains had been sawed apart, the bodies had been severely mutilated. That was only the beginning of the horror. Police opened a large plastic barrel. Inside were Robin Stepley's checkbook, various pieces of jewelry, wallets, and 3 videotapes. The first tape showed Leonard and Clara Lynn having dinner at a party. The second tape showed Leonard sitting in a chair, talking about his terrifying philosophy. He wanted a woman who would be completely obedient, like a slave, someone he could use as an object and then lock away again. But the third tape shocked everyone. It showed the rape and torture of an 18-year-old girl named Kathy Allen, a supermarket clerk from Milpitas, California. Her body was never found, only the heart-shaped pendant she had worn was recovered. Another young woman's torture also appeared in the videos. She was Brenda O'Connor, Leonard's neighbor. In the footage, Brenda begged not for her own life, but for her child's. She pleaded, "Where's my baby? Is he alive?" Leonard replied coldly, "Your baby is sleeping where you are." Police later concluded that Lonnie Bond and his little son had already been killed before that video was recorded. The boy's body was never found. In the video, Charles, the same man caught earlier stealing a stapler from the store, could be seen cutting the woman's underwear with a knife. Sheriff Ballard and his team worked 12 hours a day. According to the officers, they could feel they were walking over human remains, and they were right. During the search, the police uncovered skulls, burned bodies, and 4 more sets of remains, including a child's body, though not the child everyone initially thought it was. Later, 2 more bodies that were found were determined to have been shot in the head. When the search ended, a total of 7 men, 3 women, and 1 child's remains had been recovered, along with more than 20 kilograms of bone fragments. Police estimated that up to 25 people reported missing may actually have been killed at that site. Many bodies had been dismembered, burned, or scattered across the property, so identification of all remains was impossible. In some cases no body was found but personal items were recovered, in others a body was found but it could not be identified. As you've noticed, the main perpetrator, Leonard Lake, died in a coma after ingesting poison. His friend Charles received a death sentence for the murder of 11 people but remains incarcerated to this day. Some sources claim the 2 friends were even prepared to eat human flesh. Many rumors surround them, some true, some legends. In any case, they tortured and killed people in the house, in the bunker, and on the road. Leonard dismembered bodies, burned them, or dissolved them in various chemicals and acids. The full scope of their crimes is still not completely clear. The number of victims remains unknown. Leonard Lake considered himself on a special mission, as if he intended to remake the world after it ended. But he did not keep women alive long. He quickly abandoned any plan and killed them with torture. Leonard and Charles destroyed entire families. They killed the men, abused the women, and did not spare the children. Sometimes they forced men to watch their wives being tortured. Believe me, there is nothing worse than watching your partner suffer while you are bound and helpless. I love you all. Take care of yourselves. For now, goodbye.